Hi guys, it's Romola here. I'm a little bit early, so I just thought I'm going to set up. Let's see if we can do. Oh, I can't do any invite friends. It's not showing. Never mind. Okay, if you've got any questions or anything you want to ask about Mercury retrograde. So this started. It's been going since, when was it? The pre-shadow was 8th of March, and the 22nd of March is when it really started, and we've got till the 15th of April until the main part of Mercury is over. So come and chat if anyone's there, otherwise I shall just start talking. So let me just start talking, and then if you guys turn up, that is super, because I hate these calls that go on and on with people just waiting and waiting and waiting. So Mercury retrograde, we are nearly a week into it now. It started on the 22nd, which I think was last Thursday. So we're 1 week in, and the main Mercury retrograde is 3 weeks long. So we've got another 2 weeks to go. But if you want to look at it on the positive side, on Tuesday, after the Easter break, we will be halfway through the main Mercury retrograde. So there's lots of different things happening. Certainly I've been feeling a little bit off kilter at the moment, a little bit out of balance as well. So I've got my headache has come through today. The first day on the Friday, so the 23rd of March, had a massive great headache. Just sat there, and nothing was shifted. I mean, I don't really, hi Michelle, doesn't really take medicine anyway, but the headache was just there, and that's the beginning of it. So come and share your thoughts on Mercury retrograde. So I'm just saying that, I had a massive headache when it first started, and it runs back again. But the way I'm looking at it is it's a clearing. So it's my sinuses are my weak spot. So whenever anything happens, it's always with my sinuses. So this one's here, and it's across the back of my neck as well. So I'm glad it's not just me. I know there's another lady that had a headache and sinuses up as well. So she lives hundreds of miles away. So I'm thinking it's not just me, it's something that's going on energy wise. So we are a week in, and this time last week, I don't know if you had a headache then, I certainly did, and it was just one of those lingering ones that wouldn't actually go anywhere, no matter what I did or how much water I drank. So just smothering myself in some more lavender, just trying to get rid of some of the aches across my shoulders. So Mercury retrograde, it's very headachy, a little bit off center, out of balance, things as in the physical body, but also what can happen is, we're processing so much that actually we're getting ahead of ourselves. So my to-do list has grown immensely because I've got all these ideas and things that I'm just trying to capture on my to-do list and my quick action list as well. But things like technology go a little bit loopy. So from your post today, Michelle, that sounds like that's you. Sorry. So technology goes loopy in it because communication is the huge thing with Mercury. So if you've got stuff to do around communication, there's two ways of doing this. One is to think, right, my laptop's not going to work, my phone's not going to work, I've got things to do, I need to do backups and all the rest of it, and I would say stop. Okay, with things like that, the time to do it is before retrograde starts. So in that pre-shadow, that is the time to be backing up all your computers, your phone. I haven't done my phone actually, so I must do my phone, but it's getting everything in place ready. And then for those 3 weeks of the retrograde, it's not doing anything that involves a lot of techie side of it, because if anything is going to get stuck, it's going to be the techie side. But what you can do is turn it around and concentrate on the communication. So it's a perfect time to start looking at the content of websites or blogs, the language that you're using. Is it still you? Is it still right? So have a look at the communication side and perhaps look at rewriting some of the content, rather than implementing new plugins and trying to get them up and running. So very much we need with Mercury retrograde to switch it over and make it a positive experience, because it is 21 weeks of the year. So we have 3 of them this year, and they'll each last 3 weeks, but before the 3 weeks we have a 2 weeks pre-shadow and a 2 weeks post-shadow, when the influence of lovely old Mercury is still happening. So that's 7 weeks per block, times 3, which even my maths tells me is 21 weeks. which is almost a half a year. So finding a way to make Mercury retrograde positive, and an experience that doesn't make you go, oh, it's Mercury retrograde again, is really, really important. So I think flicking it over until looking at the communication side is a great thing to do. So Michelle says, I'm signing off from tech until the 16th now. Luckily it's holiday, so I can't do much anything. Yeah, absolutely. So it's a good, and that's a great thing, and that's a good thing, isn't it, to think, actually, do you know what, it's Mercury retrograde and it's the Easter holidays, so I'm just going to put all of that aside and it'll all be waiting for me in a much better space afterwards. And you know, if you have to do something, then maybe look at, you know, the communication element, so more the look and feel, and but don't get involved in the techie side until the retrograde is over. Other things, yeah, so I've got equipment malfunctions, backing up databases. It's also a great time to do research. So if you're thinking about new products or new services or a new career or a new house or a new car or a new oven, anything new that you're working with, the retrograde energy is a great way to help that detective, because the retrograde is about doing that detective. It's that researching and then taking the actions. So it's a great time to do that kind of research. So yeah, that's a good thing. And also I think the headaches as well is because the mind is so busy processing everything that's going on. So being able to switch that off is a really good thing. Other things that are really good to do are grounding, doing some more grounding exercises. So tools to help. My daughter's just come back from Cubs, or Beavers actually at the moment, is to do more grounding work, and this will help your energy with the Mercury retrograde. So still in the mirror there. So doing things like salt water and Epsom salt baths or foot baths are really good. That's going to help detox the body and clear that out. Doing some more grounding exercises. So grounding your feet, walking outside, but obviously not if it's pouring down with rain. But grounding up, sending down roots if you like. Increasing your exercises is a really good thing to do. So get more exercise, preferably outside, because that's really going to help you as well, just to clear those energies. Visualize drawing energy up from the feet, from the earth as well. So that, you know, a gorgeous red energy or love from Mother Earth, from Gaia, coming up and just feeling that energy. This is going to help ground you and pull your energies closer to the ground. So yeah, definitely need to find the positives. That's the only way to get through a retrograde, is look at it as something positive, for sure. Eating root vegetables is another thing. Root vegetables, yeah. So Joe's also got a headache. So when we all say this together, we can blame retrograde. It's great, but it's the brain is so busy processing that we get lots more headaches, we get a lot more migraines maybe, or those intense headaches that just don't seem to shift no matter what you do, and anxiousness as well, because it's bringing up emotions, because we're processing things, but we're also doing this detective work as well. So whether we're doing it on a conscious level or not on a conscious level, and that's all affecting the brain and the headaches for sure. So I was like, yeah, eating lots of root vegetables. They've got that grounding, they've grown in the ground, they've got grown that energy in them as well. I like to think chocolate as well. If you think of your chakra colours, the darker ones are down towards the bottom, and so having that the grounding energy at the bottom is going to be a great one, because that is yeah, chocolate is good for grounding. Not too much of it maybe, but yeah, I'm sure. What Joe says, how would you recommend dealing with the girls being affected? Well, my kids are being affected. My son has been okay, but he's just struggling with sleep. We've also got a full moon on Saturday, so that's looming as well. So the full moon always affects kids and makes them a little bit angsty and unable to go to sleep and loopy, if you like, in the lunar energy. So and the Mercury retrograde, it's been building. My son hasn't been sleeping particularly well for a few days, and today, do you know what, he just wasn't in a space where he's full of cold, not feeling very well, out of sorts, doesn't quite know, and I'm sure it's to do with Mercury retrograde. So with him, he's had the day off school so he can do some rest. He likes to eat chocolate to ground himself. I'm not sure that's the greatest idea, but doing things with with children that will involve helping them to ground. So things like going for walks with them, getting fresh air, doing some visualizations, like getting them to stand or sit down and visualize roots going down from their feet down into the ground, and then talk about what they might be going through. They might be going through crystal caves down there. They might be going through hard rock or chalky rock, or through an underground river. So use your imagination and get them to involve, and that will help just to ground them as well and pull them in. Making sure they're drinking plenty of water, because again, with as adults, it's a really good thing just to help cleansing and detoxing, and there's detoxing that happens within the Mercury retrograde as well, and that will help with headaches as well. But definitely visualizations around grounding, maybe adding some Epsom salts into their bath, just again to help them to detox and to ground as well, is a good thing. Yeah, I mean, I think with children, especially the children around at the moment, they are very special and they pick up on energies and things. There's only so much energy that they can actually take, and I think the Mercury retrograde, it's today, and yeah, so we have a full moon as well coming, like I said, on Saturday, and it's the second full moon, so it's a blue moon. These ones are always more powerful, it seems, excuse me, and more powerful, and it's a great time to do that releasing and clearing as well. So spend some time working out what you want to release. Use the power of the energy of Mercury retrograde as well to get that clarity, to get that release happening. You can write out what you want to release, say thank you to the moon, and burn it in a ceremony. There's various different videos on the moon in here, and there was a pack as well, I don't know if it's still active, on the moon energy. But yeah, watch out for the blue moon coming on Saturday too, and that is not just going to affect Saturday, but with children particularly, it will affect them on Friday. So if they've been affected at the moment by the Mercury retrograde, then yeah, this is coming as well, the blue moon, so that's going to affect them possibly even from tonight, but most definitely Friday night and the Saturday night as well, and then it lessens off again. Like I say, on Tuesday we're at the halfway point of the Mercury retrograde. Yay! So yeah, there's some ways that you can support your energy. Has anybody got anything else that's going on that they want to come and chat about or share about, or any questions that I can answer? And if you are watching this later, then bob it in the message and I'll pick it up and I can comment and come through. I have got a free resource, a free masterclass that I recorded back at the beginning of the month, about the energies in March and April. So things like the Mercury being retrograde, but also Jupiter is retrograde, and say the blue moon energies. We've just had the spring equinox as well. There's lots of energy stuff going on as far as the planets and the moons as well. So Jupiter retrograde, it lasts a couple of months. We've got a couple more months of that to go. I think it's 3 months, but it's focused around abundance, career, and its overview. So it's looking at the bigger picture. So if you've got things going on at the moment that are making you look at the bigger picture of what's going on in your life, what your goals are, what your dreams are, what you want to manifest, then that is going to be supported, or is coming up even through the Jupiter retrograde. So it's being in a space to allowing yourself to receive. So definitely work on affirmations around abundance and accepting and receiving. That's really, really important, because we can't be giving out all the time if we're not receiving ourselves. And that's something that I've really been learning. So I had a very busy week last week, and I thought, right, I need to nurture myself and look after myself. And I've done it a little bit, but not obviously as much as I can, but I'm coming down with something now. I can call it a clearing, or I can call it flu. And so I'm going to be forced at some point over this weekend just to stop and look after myself and look after my energy. Oh, excuse me. So Jupiter retrograde is a great time to clear any blocks and clear any limiting beliefs. So journaling around this is a really good thing to do. Meditating around your energy and what's going on. Have you got any thought patterns that are coming up that you want to release? And again, using that blue moon energy, it's a great way just to shift them. What else have we got coming on? Everything is speeding up in the Mercury retrograde as well. You might be noticing that. So things are happening quicker, almost like you're catching up with them, or information's coming through quicker than perhaps you initially we're expecting it to. There are, so the first 2 weeks of the retrograde is looking about, is that detective work. It's about finding out what's going on, what you need to do, and then the second 2 weeks is about taking the action. So there's times to start looking at things to do. So what's been uncovered. So with the Mercury retrograde, there's usually a theme that'll happen in that pre-shadow. So just think back to perhaps the middle of March, before the 22nd, 2 weeks before that, and said, well, what was there anything odd that came up for you? So for me, I left a business last year, and I thought it was all dealt with. I'd been through a grieving process, I'd done a lot of releasing, and suddenly it popped up in that time. I thought, this is very odd, and it popped up again. So it wasn't something that was just, oh, it's just once. It happened twice. So I had obviously to do some more work around that to release it. So I've been just doing my detective work, thinking, well, what's going on? And actually realised that it's not just that particular situation, but it's past employments as well that have cropped up as well. Thinking, right, there's something about leaving a place that I'm not fully releasing and clearing in order to allow myself to move forward. So I've done a lot of work releasing that. So that's been really my theme, is about reviewing the past and getting a space where I can release it and be able to move forward with my business and my personal life as well. So if you've got anything that came up in that time period, then have a think. If you want to talk privately, or more privately than this group, or this page rather, then I have a what's it called, Women's Spiritual Connection group, which is a free group, which, you know, it's a private group as well. So you can come and you can go and share on there if there's anything. And I have the Women's Circle as well, the monthly group that you join for just £10 a month, and each month we look at different themes, but also there's information about things like the moons, Mercury. There's access to all the videos that I've done around this and the masterclass there too. There's lots of information there if that is of interest to you. There's a need to be authentic in a Mercury retrograde. So if you are doing things that aren't possibly completely around what you need to do, that authenticity, hygiene is absolutely critical. So you have to be authentic in what you are doing. If you're pushing against something that isn't right for you, you will notice it, particularly in this retrograde. You need to look at it and look at what you're saying, what you're doing, and be in a space to do it, to be authentic, because otherwise things that happen, like your chakras start getting blocked, like you might not be able to speak, you're going to feel blocked, you're not going to move forward. So just make sure that whatever you're doing, you are authentic, you are in alignment with what you're doing, and you are clear and in the flow. And they are the key bits of my business and my personal life really that I'm moving forward with, is by focusing on what is absolutely right for me, regardless of what other people think. So I talk about my woo-woo side a lot more now than I did in any networking. You know, I'll end any networking 60 seconds with, and if you're interested in woo-woo, I run a women's circle, and I run, I talk about my woo-woo there, and that woo-woo is my USP, if you like. It's people, everything I do, whether it's meditation or whether it's working with families and children, it's all done on a woo-woo level as well, especially with these indigo and crystal children that are around. Anyway, authentic, that is me. So I'm coming out and I'm being fully authentic. I'm loving all the hearts, thank you very much. So what else am I going to tell you? So you need to be authentic. If you're waiting for answers to come, then again, they can come very quickly. As well, and it's that communication, it's that speed of things. So if something crops up, you think, oh yeah, that's just what I was looking for, that's great. That is what Mercury retrograde is all about. I forgot to see. So thank you, Michelle. I love the group. It's growing and it's wonderful. It's certainly one of my focuses for this year. Lisa, I will send you a link. I'll invite you to the free group, and there's not as much content in there obviously as in the women's circle, but I'll send you a link and then you can make that content as well. And so if anybody has got anything going on with Mercury retrograde that they want to share, or any questions about it, so like I said, we are halfway through on the 22nd of 22nd. No, it starts on the 22nd. We're halfway through on Tuesday, and it finishes on the 15th of April. And then we have 2 weeks of the post shadow. So there is more. It's not just the next we've got just under 2 weeks left. And then we've got the other 2 weeks. So the 2 weeks, the post shadow is like a tying up of loose ends. So if things came up and you haven't quite got round to them yet, that is a good time then to start doing that. So what I would suggest, if technology, sorry Lisa, if technology is a thing that's been bugging you in this Mercury retrograde, I will check out the dates of the other ones. I think it's July and November. Put it in your diary 2 weeks before that. Put the Mercury retrograde start dates in there. It doesn't matter when it ends, but put the start date in it, and put on your calendar a week before that. So when you're in the pre-shadow window, or 2 weeks before that, in case you have to put it back up computers, back up, do any tech on the website, do a check of what you need to do and get it done before the retrograde happens, because then you're not going to be in there and fiddling. You can concentrate on the communication element, which is the real good nugget of thing that's there for the retrograde. So getting on board with looking at the communication is really, really critical. Yeah, so I'm just going to touch on one more thing, which is working with your own business, and that's, again, it's looking at communication. So it's a great time in the retrograde to look at communication, your marketing message, your advertising, your about me page as well is a really good one to look at. Get clarity on your business, look at do that detective work around what you want to do in your business, how you want to move it forward, how you want to build, and trust your intuition. That's the other thing. The Mercury retrograde is about getting in contact with your intuition, and focusing on that, and not being up here in the head, moving into that heart space and that intuition to make your decisions and move forward for sure. Yeah, look at updating and reviewing anything like your blogs, your social media pages. You can make significant changes to your business as well, such as like the style and look of it. That's a great time to do that as well. Yeah, and researching ideas, plans and projects. So that detective work again is really good. No. Potatoes ready to come out of the oven. Yes, they are. Okay. Obviously, I said the pizza was ready, but I didn't say the potatoes were ready. So yeah, looking at that bigger picture of the communication is really important. On a spiritual level as well, it's a great time to look at that intuition is really key. But looking at connecting to the inner self, looking at your creativity and increasing that. Excuse me. You may find more of the light bulb moments coming, so you might get more, oh, that's a great idea, that's a great idea. So always have a notepad with you. What I'm doing with my business at the moment is having a sheet of paper by the side of me. So when I'm busy doing things and those light bulbs come up with, it might be a task that I need to do, or it might be a business idea, I'm writing it straight down onto the sheet, and then I can forget about it, park it, and go back to what I'm doing, because otherwise I'm getting so distracted at the moment, I'm just not getting anything done. So I'm trying to focus for my 25 minutes, having this spare piece of paper or notepad by the side of me that I can put all the other actions on is making a huge difference to me. And journaling as well. So journaling is a fabulous way to work out what's going on energy wise, what your connection, again, if you want to develop your spiritual connection, it's a great time. Calling your angels, ask about what might be good for your Mercury retrograde. Just write Mercury retrograde at the top of the page, and then just let your pen flow about everything that's coming out. You may get some nuggets of information about what Mercury retrograde is about for you, that you can then do your detective work and do your action of your releasing or decision making in the second half as well. So that's a really good thing. So Lisa says, yeah, she's doing lots on the communication and the review side. Yeah, Sam's just said communication and understanding and not jumping to the wrong conclusion is hard work at the moment. It absolutely is. Communication is really difficult in Mercury retrograde. People write things and everyone views it with their own glasses on, and if people have written something that's a little bit controversial, or the language isn't quite right, it's a little bit and you really pick up on it. So if you're doing any communication, then it's definitely one just to double check that what you've written doesn't have any double meaning, or doesn't have any can't be misconstrued. But also it's having the benefit of doubt for people when they've written something. You think, oh, do you know what, that's not me, that's not right, I don't like that, and it's not reacting to it. It's taken a moment just to think, right, okay, I'm going to react to this, but I'm going to have to do it in a clear, concise and positive way, again with my authentic head on, that's right. So yeah, the communication and jumping to conclusions, it works both ways. With people do it on your communication, but also what you're reading from other people. And there's definitely been issues with that with me over the last week of thinking, oh, really? Okay. And having to hold back and just change. So definitely looking at that. So, and again, like I said, journaling is a great way just to write things out. So if you've got issues that are coming up, if you've got a theme for the retrograde that you think, actually I need to research this and get this straight in my head, then literally write it out. So you can do it two ways, either in one of your notebooks, write down and just keep going so the pen stops, and then you can always review it. Or if you prefer, if you think, then just do it on basic full scrap paper, write it out, and then you can just, when you've read it, you don't even have to read it, you can just bin it because you've cleared it out of your head, and that can be a really good thing to do. So yeah, we have a very close connection with our spirit and our soul and our physical body in a Mercury retrograde, and that communication and that intuition is really, really strong. Okay, I think I've gone through all my notes. So this next week is all about so we've, like I said, we've still got the Mercury retrograde for another week and a half, just over, and we've got the blue moon on Saturday. So what it's preparing energies for that. So by preparing energies, things like children's bedtimes, just plan them a little more detailed, get them moving a little bit earlier, so that you're built in that time for later on, because things always stretch, I find, with bedtimes, and tempers as well stretch. So around the full moon. The full moon is about releasing energy. So if there's things that you want to get rid of, again, get your old scrap paper, basic paper, write it out, everything you want to release. I like to put on the bottom of mine, and anything in any plane of time that no longer is of love or fits my higher purpose, or words to that effect. So what I'm saying is, if there's something that I've not mentioned here that actually needs to go, I'm allowing it to go without me having to put it down on paper. Then with your piece of paper, you can either read it to the moon, go outside, set fire to it in a controlled environment, and get rid of it that way. Or if you've used tissues, then you can do that with a biro, depending on, and then just flush it down the loo. Don't put a whole wodge down, because you'll just, if you've got lots of releasing to do, make sure you just flush it several times. But again, send with blessings from the moon and clear it out that way. So fire and water are great ways to get rid of that, to clear all the old energies. And then we have the new moon in 2 weeks' time, just after the end of the Mercury retrograde, and that is all about planting those seeds and allowing ourselves to accept and to move forward. So I hope that's been useful. There's a lot going on with the energies at the moment. So I follow a lady called Elizabeth Peru, and she is fabulous. I think I'll put her name in here. And what I do is I follow her first on Facebook. So when I go and you like the page, you've got defaults and follow first. I think it's another one that's probably no notifications. And I do follow first. So that means that whenever she posts anything, I see it. Whenever I go onto my Facebook page, she's always one of the first ones there. And she's really good. She's done she's got blogs on there, but she does free daily content. But she also has a tip off, which I sign up to as well, which gives me weekly information about what's going on. She's really, really good. Sam says, I just feel the need to be like a child, drawing and scroll all over the page to express. Absolutely, just do it. If don't worry about what comes out or what it looks like, because what you're doing is you'll help to clear your mind. And like I say, you can either review it, look at it, or you can not, depending on, because it's the process of writing it down is really good for getting things sorted. But definitely have maybe have a little notepad that you carry around in your handbag that you can just reach in when you get those moments of things that you just need to jot down. But yeah, just I can't emphasize enough the how good journaling or writing actually is, just to write it all out and really help to clear your mind as well. It's a really good thing. What I'll do is I'll share the free Facebook group. There's not a massive amount going on in there because it is a free one, and I do have a paid for group. But if you'd like to come and join there, then you'll find some more things. What would be a good meditation? Says Samantha. It would definitely be grounding. If you've got any issues, I would definitely look at grounding. If you have got things like balance or anything grounding, a grounding oil like that, I would definitely use that just to help, across your back of your ears and your neck, just to help ground you and pull all those ideas and things in. Things like lavender are going to be good as well. I think it's a very spiritual oil, lavender anyway, but applying that, it's got that sort of sedative and calming effect, so it's almost calming the mind down so that you've got that clarity to move forward. But I think any meditation where you're doing some grounding work, you could do a meditation and just openly ask for clarity or information and just see what's going on. So you can, and that can work alongside the journaling as well. But definitely do some grounding meditation, because the more that you pull your energy down out from here into your mind and into your body, then that is going to help with the processing as well. Drinking plenty of water is critical to help keeping everything moving, and that's just on a detox level, but also on an energy level as well, just so that when you are releasing things, then they are able to channel their way out. So yeah, have a go at some journaling and definitely meditation. I don't know if I shared it in this page or if I did it in the group. I think I've done it in the group, a meditation about Mercury Retrograde and the pre-shadow. I'll perhaps see over the weekend about doing one, because I normally share one in the group, and I'll see if I can share something on this page as well, or in the secret group at least, that might help around a Mercury retrograde with that sort of overload of energy. Also things like crystals, a blue crystal here on the throat is a good thing to do, and maybe a clear quartz. If you've got anything that's clear quartz as well, either holding that in your hand when you're doing your writing or meditating, or placing it on the third eye particularly, that's going to help with the clarity as well here that's going on. Oh, thank you. I do love these hearts popping up. That's great. Thank you. So I will go and share the group and pop it in here. If you've got any other questions about Mercury retrograde or the moons or anything like that, then again, please pop them in and I'll pick them up a bit later once the kids have gone to bed. And like I said, if you want to know more, I have got a free masterclass that I've recorded about the energies in March and April, and it's up on the pinned post. It's there, and it's a free masterclass. I think it's about half an hour long, with lots of information and dates and times of things that you can do within this current energy period, both to support yourself and also to have a good, positive experience as well. So if you've got any questions, pop them below, and I shall go and soothe my throat now, and I shall see you soon. Thanks for coming. Bye.